The honors, the lines are now muted, ladies and gentlemen. This is Paul Lovato, giving you a call today from Las Vegas, Nevada, from my home office. And it's a pleasure to go ahead and be speaking with you on this September the 27th on Freedom Friday. What a joy to go ahead and show you about some incredible momentum that's been occurring over the past, really 6 weeks or so in regards to what we call the Race to Summit event. As we all know that the Race to Summit is now actually going to culminate this weekend out in Sunbury, Canada, and North Bay, Canada, with David Moses and Russ Bianchi, two great events that you can still take advantage of. Be asking that question everybody you speak with on your three-way calls, certainly at your PBRs, your push play PBRs, your closeouts, every single thing. You're asking, who do you know out in the Sunbury, Canada area and North Bay, Canada area? So what a great opportunity to take advantage and create leverage. One of the things that we do know is that great leverage is always created because of the fact that you have an ability to go ahead and take advantage of something bigger than yourself. And so, let me see, I'm going to go try something else here. Let's see. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I went ahead and got off my headset. I got a couple of text messages saying that it was a little bit muffled. So hopefully this is a little bit better for you. What I wanted to go ahead and share, ladies and gentlemen, is that Freedom Friday is upon us. It's a great opportunity to take advantage of one of the most important assets of an incredible system, and it's called personal momentum. And we're going to have the privilege to go and hear from a couple of great leaders that we have out in the great Northwest, up in the Seattle area, that have done exactly that. They've actually took to heart the coaching, the training, and they took some action because of the fact that they were able to go ahead and start right where they were at. I love that's one of the key principles about success. That's one of the key principles about business, is that successful people don't wait for the stars to line up. They basically make the right decision, and then they make the decision right. And what I mean by that, ladies and gentlemen, is that we follow through on our decisions. We don't wait for the whole world to line up exactly to where everything is the most convenient. We don't have any obstacles. There's no pushback. There's no wind. The reality is that the wind is what makes a tree strong. I remember the first time I read this, it just really blew me away, and I just had a whole different perspective on every single time I ran against the wind, or ran into the wind, or had obstacles in my way along the path to success. And that is that every single time that wind pushes on that little tree, that just a little branch really that's growing out of the ground, it's creating a tension in the ground for that little plant. And what that's doing is it's pushing that plant's roots deeper and deeper. And so as the tree actually grows, responding to the nurturing of having water and the ability to go ahead and respond to the energy of the sun, that tree grows and it faces more wind. And as it faces more wind, ladies and gentlemen, what it actually is doing is now digging deeper into the roots of earth. And so as you see the incredible majesty of the great redwoods out in for example, the Northern California, and all the way up to Washington, and you see just incredible ability for a plant to just reach to the skies, if you will. How do they do that? By responding to the pressure, to the tension of the wind. And so what I want to share with you is that, ladies and gentlemen, that's what leaders do. Leaders literally are able to go ahead and create something good from what some other people would say, but it's just not a convenient time. And so what I wanted to talk about this morning on Freedom Friday, here we are on Cycle 1, Period 67. Race Summit is culminating. We had just well over 60 events, is what I understand. Every single one of the events was tremendous success. I know that we could bring people on and have an opportunity here, just tremendous success stories. I'll just share what I saw out in the Las Vegas area, and I know that our guests are going to share a little bit about the Race to Summit event that they went to as well. And that is that out in the Las Vegas area, we had an opportunity to go ahead and take a look at Dr. Joshua Plant. It was an honor to meet him. Got to speak some science with him, so that was a great thing to build his brain a little bit. And then see my old friend Ryan Palmer. What a great opportunity! It was just such joy to see his face light up as he we connected eye to eye. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was just a great event because of the fact that new market is being set up right here in the Las Vegas area, and it's just a privilege to go ahead and be a part of that. Looking forward to seeing all the expansive growth where we're doubling, tripling, quadrupling, room sizes in very quick measures of time because of the explosive growth here at Zika International. And one of the things that I encourage you to use as an illustration of the explosive growth here at Zika is very simply the Inc. Magazine Top 5,000. And I tell you what, that article, if you will, is incredible in that it is real third-party business validation. You don't pay Inc. Magazine to get on that list, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, you don't get on that list if you're a one-hit wonder. That's a 3-year period of time, and we have grown. We're up there with the big boys and the fastest growing privately held companies in the United States. And what's exciting in the article that Mr. Goals and I wrote is that it shows that, we are absolutely dominating the health and wellness industry. There's only 15 companies ahead of us. We're in spot number 504 out of the top 5,000, but only 15 companies are ahead of us, and out of that, 14 are in different industries that we're not even involved in. What's interesting is that when I say 15 companies are ahead of us, all the other companies are much smaller than us. We are like, as a matter of fact, I heard at the summit, at the Race Summit event, we are now a $180 million annualized company, ladies and gentlemen. And most of those companies that are on that list for the top 5,000 that are ahead of CG International, they're less than $10 million annualized companies. What does that mean? It's like comparing apples and oranges. I just encourage you to get your hands around that. That this third-party validation from Inc. Magazine, it is huge, ladies and gentlemen, for smart business people, and that's what you're wanting to do. You're wanting to attract them. So enough said about that. What I will share is this in regards to preparation for convention. I do want to go and encourage everybody, ladies and gentlemen, to fill out your itinerary, to take a look at the itinerary, to fill out your personal information. If you are registered for Summit, ladies and gentlemen, you definitely want to get that information. If you are gold and above, you definitely want to go on to your back office and indicate that you will be at the gold reception, ladies and gentlemen. I've already done that. I'm looking forward to being a part of that. It's such a joy to go ahead and note that the company is growing so fast that we literally have hundreds and hundreds of people that qualify for that now, versus the events that we've grown from over the past 6 years, ladies. As a matter of fact, I remember the first event I ever came to at Zika International after I'd been in the company less than, I think, 3 or 4 months, and that was the convention that we had right here at the Tropicana Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. I tell you what, we brought a team from the Santa Rosa area up in the San Francisco Bay Area. Brought a team, I think I was looking at a picture the other day, well over 25 people back then, okay? So ladies and gentlemen, things are really growing quickly, and we're culminating, taking advantage of some big momentum. So what I wanted to do now is I wanted to go ahead and share a little bit about the power of events. I know we're going to hear a lot about that, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to take it out of the theoretical and put it into the practical. Got two individuals on the line, Gold Executive Linda Casperson out of see if I get this right, Linda, out of Gig Harbor, Washington, and then Barrett Schweiss, bronze executive, out of Anacortes, Washington, both right out of the Seattle, Washington area. One of the things that they have done is that they have plugged into coaching and mentoring, and they have been able to go ahead and really build some momentum, have some great events up in the Seattle area that they've been a part of, plugging into the market up there and contributing to that market as well significantly with their own personal events. And we're going to talk a little bit about how one of the most important things that we can do on Freedom Friday, ladies and gentlemen, is begin to create a culture of plugging in to coaching and to having people show you the way to get the results that you're looking for, okay? One of the key things is that smart people realize what they don't know, okay? In other words, they don't try to fake it, that they know things. And one of the things that I love about what Linda and Barrett have done is that they have asked tremendous amounts of questions about how to go ahead and build their market. And so what I wanted to do is start out with asking a question about the power of events, and you're welcome to take a few minutes to each answer this if you like to. I know that you guys have been brainstorming about being on the call today, and that is that, you know, first of all, congratulations to you. I know that you've had multiple events up there. You've had personal events. You've had your push-play PBRs. You've had trainings. You're now the genesis of your own group trainings out there occurring as well. Linda and Barrett, welcome to the call, and I'd love for you guys to share about how the culture of Freedom Friday has begun to make a difference in your business, and maybe share a little bit about your story and how you got here. So welcome to the call, Linda and Barrett. Whoever wants to take the first lead on the response.
Okay, who gets to start, Barrett, you or me?
Linda, you do.
Oh, wow, thank you. Okay, I will just preface this by saying that it was about 14 months ago when I started in this business, and I absolutely had no idea what I was doing, and I was so skeptical. I actually wasn't nice to my sponsor, Linnell Burmark, about trying the product. I absolutely said no numerous times. But once I got on that product, I knew within 4 days this was something that I would be doing for the rest of my life. And I said, you know, I need to share this with people. And of course, then I had to got my sister into it. Barrett, she actually signed up without even trying the product. So I have to commend her for trusting me. That would be a first in our life as sisters. But we have gone from event to event, which I think, well, I know that is what has built the business. And the first one that we did, I'm just almost embarrassed to even talk about it. We still laugh about that. And we kind of knew what we're doing, but not exactly. But I will have to tell you, since that first event, what has snowballed since then has been phenomenal. Fortunately for us, we live about 2.5 hours from each other, and we can kind of go back and forth and help each other out quite a bit. And for us, it's been really nice to have that support. On the Fridays, we call each other. We were looking at our points. We're checking the people that are builders underneath us, so we can clue them in on what's going on. So that becomes part of the culture for us. In fact, the last PBR that we had here at my house, one of my new distributors said, I'm not leaving without scheduling a PBR at my home. So that has been awesome. Aaron, I'm going to let you add to that.
Okay, yeah, what I really appreciate, Father, thinking way back at the beginning, you know, when I did get my filter 2-packet, was introduced to this, I said, I am not leaving here without actually you giving me a taste, since I've already signed up for this. So I actually did like it. I was thinking way back of what Lisa offered me, and you and I talked about mentoring a lot. And he's done a lot of mentoring with me, and I put it in perspective, thinking about this, and that when Sija offered me, I was terribly sick, and and the coachability factor. And I was actually in a really good position because of the cancer treatments. I had no hair, no eyelashes, no eyebrows, my fingernails, my toenails were all falling off. And so who I was as a person, I really had to look at it. I was down to the core values that I had. So being coachable, I just really needed to learn about this business because I didn't understand distribution networking at all. And so Zija offered me the lifeline of rebuilding myself as a person, gaining the skills I needed to this industry, and then the lifeline of course, the health and my belief became very, very strong, partly my experience, but also talking with Uncle Russ and understanding the science behind it, which really helped me to be absolutely consistent. Also with the mentoring with you, Paul. And then the third lifeline was I really needed the income, and because of the devastating medical bills my husband and I both incurred that year from cancer. So I'm extremely grateful. And then to have a system, and when I spoke with the Russ, I'll never forget this. I voiced, and you were on the call, Paul, and I voiced that, well, I'm not feeling very well. I'm not sure I can do this. My brain isn't working very well after chemo. And he said, Barrett, can you do this one thing? Can you keep your mouth shut? And I remember laughing, thinking, yeah, that I can do. He said, well, then you can do this business.
I remember that well because it kind of caught you by surprise. I know that, and you know what Russ was referring to, of course, is letting the system do the talking, letting the tools speak of the story of Zija International, whether it's a product story, whether it's a business story. And speaking of product, by the way, I know that both you and Linda Barrett have incredible personal testimonies. And you've both of you on multiple occasions have been on the international, opportunity calls to share your story, and they're incredible stories, ladies and gentlemen. As Barrett said, really life-changing, and I even say life-saving for Barrett because of the fact that she's so much with her treatment, cancer treatment, and her recovery process. And one of the things that Barrett is doing, she's actually been able to go ahead and reach out. And matter of fact, we've got some scheduled this weekend to speak with people that are going through the very same thing, whether they be down in Texas, whether they be down up in Canada, whatever the case is. That's the beautiful thing about being involved in a culture. And then I wanted to get back to Linda on this as well, and that is, Barrett, you talked a little bit about coachability. And one of the key things I want to share with the group is that one of the reasons why Linda and Barrett have grown a very significant business out there, which now expands, of course, into multiple locations out there in the Seattle area, down into Portland. I know that you guys went to the Race to Summit out there in the Portland area. And then now their markets are actually branching into international expansions. Linda and Barrett were instrumental in working together in helping to launch the Norwegian market. Now we're actually developing other new markets that are developing in Europe throughout the European market that we have for Zija, as well as brand new countries out in Europe as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, one of the key things is that it all began with Freedom Friday. Okay, one of the key things that happened is that Linda and Barrett, they basically asked, well, what do I do? And what I shared with them is getting plugged into a culture, if you will, to create a habit of being on, for example, the Go Diamond focus calls, to have a habit of being involved, first of all, listening to the opportunity calls on Tuesday and Thursday, the Wednesday call with Russ Bianchi, Ask Our Scientist, calls on Thursday with Joshua Plant. What we were doing, ladies and gentlemen, is creating some threads of habits that, as the great Dr. Dennis Waitley has said, is that you first make your habits, and then your habits make you. And what was happening is that Barrett and Linda were developing the habit of being involved on Freedom Friday. And And part of that began with, you know what, exactly what Linda said, and that is beginning to see who they could help, you know, that was needing to get to Builder 500. We say this often in this company, ladies and gentlemen, but so often people just hear the information and don't take action. And one of the things that I wanted to share is that coachability begins with availability. So I got a question for you, Linda and Barrett, and we'll start with you first, Linda, and that is, has it always been convenient for you to be plugged into the system and to the process of coaching and mentoring? If you could share a little bit about some of the obstacles that you've had to overcome to get where you're at today.
Well, probably the biggest obstacle that you have to overcome is you have to realize that the more you listen to the calls, the more you realize you didn't know a whole lot in the beginning. But the most important part of those calls and getting plugged in is it absolutely builds your confidence. And it's really kind of scary in the beginning, and there's some really frustrating days, and you think, am I going to mess something up today, or is someone going to be upset at me because I asked them to try the product? That changes. It changes immensely once you get plugged in, because you realize that you are giving a gift to people, and you can say it with confidence, and it will totally change your business. And it isn't always easy to be available, but it's easy when you decide it's going to be easy. That is something you overcome. The biggest part with building teams is when you overcome that, people sense that in you, and they want to do exactly what you are doing. They will emulate you, and that is how you win in the business.
Excellent, excellent. Barry, would you like to respond to that?
Well, yeah, it's not always convenient to be available, but I'm really grateful my husband is giving me all the time and the space that I need to build my business, to be on the calls early in the morning and in the evenings, and be available for 3 ways. And yeah, I'm getting up early. I've been on, I don't think I missed very many of the daily focus calls. And just a big shout out, thank you to the other leaders and other people that have participated, because there's been days when I needed to hear exactly what was on those calls, and it really gave me the wherewithal to pick up my phone and call the people that I wanted to call, that I planned on calling, and just to follow through. So I'm really thankful for just making the time to do it.
Absolutely. You're exactly right, Barrett and Linda. And, Linda, you talked about self-confidence. Barrett, you talked about the habit of being on the calls. Those are really key, ladies and gentlemen. And what I encourage you to take away, ladies and gentlemen, with what their comments are indicating, is that they were engaged in the process, and they started right where they were at, and they reached out to their support team. Myself, Mr. Ron Golds, and Russ Bianchi, and now in the process, Joshua Plant. And my point is, ladies and gentlemen, is that great things can come by just planting these seeds, even the seeds that we can plant right now with just the last 12 days before, or thereabout, before convention actually starts. And what I encourage you to do, ladies and gentlemen, is to run through the tape. That's what Freedom Friday is all about. It's running through the tape and finishing strong. Okay, that's what sprinters do. They finish strong, because many times it's the way that you finish that determines who wins the race. Now, the wonderful thing about our Race to Summit is everybody can win in personal momentum. And I want to talk about that because we often take for granted that here we have this incredible company, $180 million annualized company now, on the verge of becoming a $250 million company. And here's what's important. You've got to have your ship in the water for the tide to raise your ship. And what that means is that we have to have personal momentum personally within our personal habits. And that's why I wanted to talk about the power of events, building from event to event. So we often think that the most important event is for example, the Race to Summit events. Those are huge events. and I do mean many, smaller events that led to successful Race to Summit events all over the country. Those many events were three-way calls. Those many events were push-play PBRs. Those many events were getting somebody to build her 500 because the fact they didn't know what they didn't know. Linda referred to that. Just so much you realize as you move through the process of developing self-confidence. And she's absolutely right. People absolutely sense your self-confidence. And the self-confidence doesn't happen just because you make a decision. Self-confidence happens because you make a decision and you make the right decision, and then you follow through and make the decision right. In other words, you stay engaged in the process. You stay engaged in coaching. You get your silly questions answered. And I love what Linda and Barrett were talking about. I remember that first event. I heard about it. It was a part of a little bit of it because of some of the sequence of changes. But I remember Linda and Barrett saying, I learned so much about this business by doing that first push-play PBR. And so what I wanted to go ahead and do is just let you guys have a couple, have a minute or so each to go ahead and wrap up a little bit about being at the upcoming summit, maybe the Race to Summit event that you guys had in Portland, and just tying a little bow around our Freedom Friday here as we wrap up here. And thank you both so very much for taking some time out of your schedule and your preparation and to be on the call.
Okay, Paul, I just want to thank you for letting me be on the call, and I will tell everybody, use the system. It's a wonderful system that's in place. Use your lifeline. Use your mentor, and when you get mentored and you get mentored properly, and thank you, Paul, you become a good mentor yourself. So let's see you all at convention. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, I concur with Linda totally. The system works very, very well, and we've been using the DMT site, the Discover Moringa Team site, and the documents in there. And particularly, we're thrilled about our teams because the resources, the incredible giftings and skill sets of the people that are on our teams and the testimonials that we have. I was reviewing them actually earlier this morning. Just blew me out of the water. The multiple languages that people speak, and just the areas in people's lives that we can touch because the testimonials are just awesome. So just thank you again, Paul. It's been, it continues to be a wonderful experience, and I'm looking forward. And our main theme is, we know one thing, that we should never, ever quit. Just the whole key is just keep going, keep learning. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you both for being on the line today. Great job, just really exemplifying what it means to be coachable, because a lot of times we think we're being coachable, and I'm going to only speak for myself, yours truly here, and as we go through the process and we learn what really coaching really does for our lives, because it changes our perspective, and it does build that self-confidence for people to actually trust what we're doing here at CJ International because of our belief in it. And so that's what we really do. As we say all the time, we build from event to event, ladies and gentlemen. But what we're doing many times is building our own belief, and people sense that. So I want to congratulate everybody for being on the call today on this September the 27th. Congratulations to each and every one of you. This coming Wednesday, I'm going to be doing a call, the focus call, and I'm going to be talking about the pre-convention, the convention, and the post-convention attributes of building from event to event. What's what I call the before, the during, and the after. I'm looking forward to sharing with you how the power of events in this industry over the past 17 years have literally revolutionized my life and my thinking. And I would say from the past, and not too much nowadays, but it does happen, and that is, you know what, sometimes it helps to revolutionize the stinking thinking. And so I'm looking forward to sharing with that. Just a general reminder, ladies and gentlemen, that we also have a Fast Start training call tomorrow, with none other than the incredible Amy McKenzie, Emerald Executive out of the Seattle area. And Amy does an incredible job with her professional training in theater, and she brings that with her communication skills, her ability to bring just incredible stories of success to her call. I just encourage you to be on that call, have your guest on that call. The Fast Start training call is a very fundamental part of our system. Oftentimes people think, well, you know what, I've heard that call. I would say this, unless you can do that call in a polished fashion, ladies and gentlemen, you need to be on that call. So with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Have a great rest of the day. Let's run through the tape on Freedom Friday, Cycle 1, Period 67. Let's rock and roll and move forward with getting people's belief built to get to the summit. So ladies and gentlemen, with that in mind, this is Paul Lovato. I'm going to go ahead and open up the lines. Great rest of the weekend. Weekend. Have a free rest of the day. Thank you. Thanks, Paul. Michael Scott, for you. Thank you.
Awesome call, Paul. Debbie Callahan, Vegas, Nevada. Thank you. Great call, Paul, and Linda Sanders, Rose, Runaway Bay, St. Anne's. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Wagon, Philly, Ohio.
Great call, Paul. James out of Southern North Carolina. Great call.
Thank you, Paul. Great call, Marina Albuquerque, New Mexico. Great call, Michigan. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. That's Manhattan, Atlanta, Georgia. Great call this morning. Thank you, Paul. Great call this morning. Bob from Santa Rosa, California.